Hey everyone, this is Car RayRob, where I'm Ray.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Mr. KittyKaiju.
And we want to welcome you to a special Kids Edition episode of Say Hello to My Little Film.
Hey there, it'll be just a little while till Ray and Rob spit their spittle. Come on, check out of the hospital. So grab some of your best peanut brittle. This will be a darn good transmittal. And say hello to my little film.
That's right, everyone. We are back with another episode of Say Hello, and as you heard, Mr. KittyKaiju is here with us. Rob, you want to remind everybody about what he's doing here?
Absolutely. On these special Kids Edition episodes of Say Hello to My Little Film, Ray and I introduce Mr. KittyKaiju to a movie that we love from our childhood, just in general, and see if he loves it as much as we do.
We want to see if this movie still works with the Gen A crowd.
Yes, we are the alphas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we brought him something special today. We brought him something very special, something that really resonates with me personally, because this was the first movie I ever remember seeing in a movie theater.
Is that right?
I vaguely remember you telling me about your first movie, but I don't even remember what it was.
And the other interesting thing about this is you are a kid of a specific generation, a
Yes.
specific era.
Oh, yeah.
And
The
this
alpha
movie-
era.
Well, the Gen
Sure.
A Alpha,
Yeah,
sure.
we're the
absolutely. But this is the movie that we are going to show you was from a different era that was a precursor to this era.
A
So I think
different era, like the Stone Age.
Oh,
In
ha,
some
ha,
ways.
ha.
Some ways it might feel that way.
Exactly. But it's not the Stone Age, but it's something, and I think it's going to be a very, very interesting conversation, and I'm very excited to show you this piece of my history along the way.
Some could say if it wasn't for this movie, a lot of the movies you've watched growing up, you might not have the same exposure to. I think
That's true.
might be a good way to point it out.
Mid. Alright. Yeah, if this movie didn't exist, I'd say that would be pretty mid, I guess.
Well, I think it would be almost more than mid. Like, is there anything past mid?
What's worse?
In
than
which
worse?
direction?
right?
In
The
either.
mid's in the middle,
Is there
right?
anything in any direction?
Yeah, mid means like middle
bad.
of the road.
So what's bad? What would be?
Bad. Bad is bad.
Oh, well, bad was good when we grew up. Darn.
Exactly. So it would be bad.
Well, this
Like-
movie we're
like
about to watch
a-
is bad.
Yeah. Like a bad new pair of kicks or a bad new I don't even remember what I was gonna say. It's from Gumball, that's all I remember. Alright, well, you're saying that this movie was as influential as it was. What do you got?
What do you got? What do you got? What do you got?
All right, Mr. KittyKaiju, what we have for you today is the movie that launched an entire summer, an entire perhaps genre.
Who shot Mr. Burns?
No, that's fair. For The Simpsons, that did actually consume an entire summer. But this is the 1989 Tim Burton Batman.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton's
It's classic. But the movie
Batman.
that proved that superhero movies could work.
Yes.
That they were financially viable. That Marvel wouldn't be around if this thing wasn't successful.
Exactly.
And you talk about it proving superhero movies could be viable and profitable. Late 90s and early 2000s Marvel.
They never would have tried though. Batman
and
gave
that's-
them
Okay,
the
Well,
confidence.
yeah,
that's the thing.
alright.
But that's the whole point.
Misplaced, but yeah,
But-
I'd say that's a good point.
Sony then came in the late 90s with their Spider-Man. Fox tried X-Men, and then because of this history, Marvel's able to do its own thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and then Disney just bought all of them.
That's
Disney
true.
said we want that.
It all ends in Disney.
And you are a Marvel kid. Like,
Yes.
you are a Marvel Studios
Yes.
kid. You have basically, your entire life, you have known nothing but the Marvel era.
Yeah,
So that's
I
something.
can basically recite Infinity War.
There you go.
I've reached that level.
Kay's never seen 1989 Batman, but you have seen the 1989 Batman, I guess, in the Flash movie. Michael Keaton's in that.
That's true.
I
is-
haven't watched the Flash movie.
You never saw the Flash movie?
No.
Good for you.
I
That
know.
movie sucks.
that deserves an
Okay.
applause.
Well, then you don't have any Michael Keaton expertise here, but
That's
that's,
true.
No, I
that's
don't.
better. You're still pure in that. That's
Yeah,
good.
I do know who Michael Keaton is, and I have seen the meme from the movie of Michael Keaton standing up,
Yeah.
and like the camera pans to him in front of like the giant bat window, and it's just like, huh. It's like a neuron activation meme.
Okay.
It's
Well,
like
there's
walking in.
There's a meme for everything. We are
Yeah.
nothing but memes.
Yeah,
Ray. Our
it's like
entire
the-
childhood is
I
nothing
knew
but
where we
kinda
were
like
going to was a meme there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the diagram of the guy, and he's like sitting in a chair and he's like slouching, but then
Yeah.
in the next thing he's like fully sitting straight. It's
He's
like
heard some shocking news.
for real. He's locked in.
There you go.
Well, he's Batman.
He is Batman. And,
That too.
And Michael Keaton does play Batman. Then you've got Jack Nicholson as the Joker. You got
Oh, yeah.
Kim Basinger in this movie. Robert
Basinger,
Wolf, Basinger,
not sure how to say that.
Billy D. Williams, Jack Palance. There's a lot of great people in this movie, and like I said, this was the very first movie I ever remember seeing in a movie theater. So this is a big moment for me to share this with you.
Yeah.
And like I said, it launched a whole summer. The summer of Batman in 1989 was just something to behold. It was everywhere.
And
Wait
really-
till the summer of Secret Wars next year.
I mean, that's
We'll have to
probably true
wait,
as well.
I also
Yeah.
think tonally, like this is what like kind of reinvented what Batman is. This is not Adam West's Batman, right? This was
No.
for most audiences like this was like who don't read comic books. Like this was a huge change for the Batman character.
Was Adam West the guy who made Batman and Robin?
in the '60s? No,
Oh,
this
oh,
was the '60s
right,
TV
yes.
sitcom where
Yeah.
not
Yes.
sitcom, but
That weird
Right.
one.
basically
The weird one.
Yeah.
Okay, the
The
weird one.
in the
That's all we
60s.
need
That's
to
the
say.
Lego Batman.
Holy taxation, Batman!
yeah.
Yeah, and it's so like I said, this movie is a lot of fun to talk about because I think we've come such a long way, maybe for better and for worse. You know, I think that could be part of this conversation as well. But you know, this is it strikes a very interesting tone. This movie, it's very dark, it's very dirty. It does have that kind of noirish gothic type feel.
Yeah.
But
Tim Burton loves to live in.
Doesn't the Joker use like a gas that makes people smile before
Yes.
they die?
Yeah.
Yeah, a kid at my
Just like in
school
the
actually,
comics.
a kid at my school actually like told me about it. Like,
Well, now
on
you're gonna be able to
Velocity.
fight back with some info. If you
Yeah, he was like talking about like how the 1989 Batman is pretty dark because like Joker uses like the gas to make people smile. I mean, I guess it's better than like branding smiles onto them like he does in the comics.
That's true.
But
that's so.
Yeah.
But it was, I will say, a bit of a divisive movie amongst comic book fans as well. You know, there
Really?
has been a large conversation about that in the years that followed about whether this movie was actually a good comic book movie or not. So there's but a bit of that in this conversation I feel like as well.
all right,
Yeah.
let's just clear something up.
Okay.
What makes a good comic book movie?
Well, that's a good question. I think that's a
exactly.
pretty subjective question.
Yeah, I
Like-
think that's something. There's some things we can talk about. I think in the after section because there's some lore. This movie does some lore changing with Batman
Yeah.
that I think some people didn't like.
all of the Discord mods and comic book guys of the past.
Yeah.
Like, what does a good comic book movie even mean?
Right.
well,
like,
you know
what
it
does
when
that
you have it,
signify?
but I don't know if you can define it.
Yeah, yeah. Like, there are a lot of things like that.
Absolutely. But the best way to figure out if this is what the answers to these questions are is to actually just go and watch the movie, which is what we're going to do right now.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Ray and I and Mr. KittyKaiju are going to go and we are going to revisit the 1989 Batman. It is going to be a big moment for
Yep.
us, and you should do the same. You should pause the podcast, go check out Batman 1989, and then unpause it and come back and find out if Mr. KittyKaiju loved this movie
Yeah.
as much as we do.
We're gonna be watching the film.
Ray and Rob are currently watching the film. You may be also watching the film. If you're not, then you're listening to me say that Ray and Rob are watching the film. They'll be right back when they're done watching the film.
All right, guys, we are back from watching Batman '89, and if you guys want to get nuts, let's get nuts.
Oh, that's where that's from. As someone who grew up on Lego Batman, that is like it was a big surprise.
Yeah,
when, I
there's
heard that.
I think there's a lot of quotes that have been like persistent through time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
Batman is pretty big. Like
yeah.
that's a Michael Keaton staple. But
What
like,
are you? I'm Batman.
All right, but we watched it. We're here. We've watched, I think, not only the origin of Batman, but the origin of superhero movies at all.
As we know it.
Yeah,
Superman existed before this.
Yeah,
Well,
the
yes,
70s
but it
one.
didn't set the trend.
No,
Nothing really
that's true.
followed it. But it was hard. I think, it was more. It wasn't because Superman wasn't good. It was just CGI. Like,
Yeah.
couldn't. That stuff just couldn't get done practically. So we had to wait for the technology to catch up.
Yeah.
But I think much more, Batman was the model of what followed it after. Superman
Yeah.
maybe is
I think
kind of
that's
more
correct.
what follows it now. We may have got to more superhero type movies, but
That's
I
fair.
do think we followed Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it launched like 3 more movies, and like while not connected, it did definitely launch Batman the animated series, and it probably also inspired all of the Nolan Batmans, and they inspired all of the Batmans we have now. So
Yeah, I think we mentioned, you got to remember the Batman before
Yeah.
this was the 1960s TV show
yeah,
Adam West.
that's like a
Very silly.
20
Yeah.
plus year jump.
And this is from Batman, for the most part, forever after this, has only really been that serious character, that
Yeah.
real tough,
The Bat
gothic.
turn.
Gothic is always in there.
Yeah.
But other than maybe Val Kilmer and George Clooney trying to ruin it, which is weird because
Yeah.
it's actually this franchise. But
Yeah.
all of the Batmans after have always
Yep,
been like
they
that
changed
dark
it.
version.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it's interesting because it was, like you said, about a decade later is when those Marvel movies started to drop, like the first Spider-Man, the Raimi Spider-Man, and the first X-Men and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and that really kind of launched our current era
Yeah.
of superhero movies. So we talked in the beginning about Mr. KittyKaiju growing up here as a Marvel kid, just being the parlance of the times, as it is.
Yeah.
And
I'm a youngin'.
right, and
Jenny.
just the way that everything kind of revolves around that universe right now.
Yeah.
So one thing, there's 2 things.
For
Two
better or
things,
worse.
right?
Two.
There are 2 things that I feel like should fuel this conversation and kind of we can either see this as the genesis, the cave paintings of what we see today, or maybe not.
Ooh,
and
the
that
cave paintings. Now I
Exactly.
know you guys are old.
We remember.
I
Weren't
made
you
a few.
guys
I made a few.
born in 19?
Bleep that out.
But there are 2 things, 2 words that I feel like really should drive this conversation, and we could do a bit of comparison on the 2,
Comparison.
between the Marvel universe that we know now
Yeah.
and Batman 1989, and that is the idea of spectacle.
Yeah.
Because I think obviously the modern Marvel universe relies so heavily on spectacle.
Yeah, I
And-
mean, Endgame versus Batman 1989. I mean,
absolutely, absolutely.
It is.
And formula.
Wow.
Because I think
Yeah.
that there is a certain formula to superhero movies, and does Batman 1989 begin that formula that we know
Definitely.
today, or is it's still its own thing, even separate from it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's something that we could talk about in this conversation.
Well, like, what do you mean by formula? We need to set a ground.
Well,
like, term.
if you think about a movie and certain beats and how they come about,
Yeah.
and revolving around large action set pieces, the
Yeah.
typical action script is kind of like it's not really a 3-act system; it's actually a 5-act system.
Yeah, it's like
Because-
the expedition, rising action, climax, falling action. Yeah, we learned about that in ELA in 2nd grade.
Yeah, exactly. So you see what I mean.
And 4th grade. We touched back on that.
There you
4th
go.
grade.
So you're right. You see exactly my point. It is just kind of this naturally held formula for movies like this. So let's talk
Yeah.
about those types of things through that lens about this movie.
And I think too, when you think about formula, the formula I think a lot of movies took from this was the use of the origin story to
Right.
set up
Yeah.
the character. Where it's almost interesting because we've almost moved past that, and we're almost we've seen enough origin stories. We get it. This is after about 30 years, this is getting kind of boring to watch.
Yeah.
We need to see every reason why this character turned into who they are.
Right.
Let's just
I
see
mean-
the character. But
mean-
you had to start.
Yeah, I mean, there used to be movies like the first Iron Man, Captain America, the first Avenger, all of these
Thor,
movies. Yeah, Thor, that are just entirely origin. Incredible Hulk, just entirely origin.
That had to be. You
stories.
had to do it.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's.
Yeah.
The first couple Spider-Men were.
Yeah. Garfield, the Maguire, yeah, and then
I thought you were literally talking about Garfield the cat there for a second. I was like, wait, where did Garfield come from?
Yeah, okay.
I got you, I
Alright.
got you.
Andrew Garfield.
There you go.
Yes,
There we go.
yes. Big brain action here. And then come 2016 or 2017, like that general area, Tom Holland. And, like, he just doesn't have an origin story. Like, he just is.
Yeah.
And
They
the
just
more
assume you know.
Yeah, and, like, the more I think about it, the more it bugs me. Because, like, and they kind of, like, jumped the shark with, like, Aunt May being his Uncle Ben, you know? Because,
yeah,
like,
a little bit.
I suppose that kind of made him lock in. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like he's gonna be a lot more locked in Brand New Day. But, like, also, going back to the origin story thing, like, he doesn't have an origin. Like, what was the radioactive spider? Was it a radioactive spider? I mean, it probably was.
Yeah,
like,
but I
where did he get bitten? Why did he get bitten?
I
Like,
think
what
when
was
they
his
were
first supervillain?
when they were starting to
Juggernaut?
when they were starting to make those new Spider-Man, though, all of the audiences were like, "We don't want to see that again." Like we
Yeah,
know, we
Really?
get it.
it would have been the
And
third time you saw
I
it.
even kind of feel like
Yeah.
with like even the Batman, like they kind of they've kind of skipped through that origin for the most
Yeah.
part. They're like, you get it why he's Batman,
Yeah.
you know, like and this will be good enough. Like
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah.
be on fine, you're on board. But anyway, it's 89 though. It's big time origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but it's funny. Like it is and it isn't, because I really appreciate how the beginning of this movie is kind of a misdirect. You know,
Yeah,
it's the young.
because
It's
you
the,
see, because you see them. That is actually what I thought. You
yeah, where it's you have this.
Well, it's a misdirect now, but back then, if you didn't really know Batman's history, it would not.
and
you-
that's
you know,
a
you
fair
wouldn't have
point.
known
That's
that.
a fair point.
It was
But
like
if you didn't know
it was
it-
foreshadowing,
Don't
I guess.
know.
Right, exactly. Where it was, they had the family leaving the theater, going down the alleyway, trying to, find their way home, and then they get jumped and, all of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And then, you find out that, this is Batman already exists. Like, this is
Yeah.
a world now, not in the past. And then you find out later that Bruce Wayne had the same
Yeah.
thing happen to him.
Yeah.
But it's still that scene is still really iconic.
Sure.
Like that first intro to Batman scene.
That's all.
in
Yeah.
this
That's
movie.
copied from now. That's obviously
Yeah.
it started in the comics, but it was copied in many versions. But it's not just the origin on like what inspired him to become Batman, but it is also like his origin in regards to like his relationship with Gotham. You know what I mean? Like this
Yeah.
is his first couple weeks or months in
Yeah.
Gotham and stuff.
Year
like
one.
people still are not even sure if he's a real bat, if it's the person in a costume. They don't even
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Man Bat. Important distinction from Batman.
That's true.
yes,
Big
very
difference.
important.
Big difference.
Yes, big difference.
But yeah, and I think using the Knox character is kind of smart in that regard. To have it where he's trying to convince people that
Yeah.
Batman exists. He's seen as this kook around the newsroom and all of that, and he's trying to do these things. Make people, believe him, write these stories, and convince people that he exists. But he also knows that there are other people who do know he exists, like the mayor and the Commissioner
Detectives.
Gordon
it's
and all
the
of that kind of
mayor,
stuff.
Bobby. The mayor.
Exactly.
If you know, you know. Only the real ones know.
But so I do appreciate that about this movie, because it kind of, like you said, it's an origin story, but Batman already exists. Whereas in like Batman Begins, it like goes through the whole process of like how he created the suit and how he he got all these things, and it really goes into that minute detail, which is good for what it's doing what it's doing. But I do appreciate in this movie how it's kind of they find that balance of an origin story where he's
Yeah.
like already Batman when the movie starts, and they
Yeah.
kind of fill in a little bit of the backstory.
Yeah.
Now, one
along
thing
the way.
controversial about this movie, if you are a Batman lore guy,
Of course.
okay, right, is like
Yeah,
the Joker killing his parents. Like
Yeah.
that's not right. That's
Yeah,
not
I mean,
supposed to be the way it is.
In the comics and in a lot of other continuities, the guy who kills his parents is some dude named Joe Chill, which there is a theory that Alfred hired him, but we're not gonna get into that. I don't even know the theory, to be honest. But
But what do you think about them changing it and just making
I
the movie a
mean-
little tighter with it being Joker?
I think it works. So the thing about Joker in this movie is in other continuities, he doesn't really start out as a regular guy. He's just the Joker, and he goes
Right, that's
crazy,
kind
and
of
he
his
has
thing.
and across different continuities, he has a billion different backstories. But like, one thing that is common across every continuity is that like he's already Joker. He's
Yeah.
already this crazy guy blowing up buildings, blowing up hospitals and nurse outfits. But I feel like it's interesting how he, like, starts out as a regular gangster.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know? And I feel like it makes sense. And I get people saying it's weird that Joker killed his parents, and I understand that. But, like, again, it does work.
It
you know,
works.
'cause
It's like
he's just a gangster.
It's like too neat, I think, is what people would have a problem with. Like it's that closes the loop too tight
Yeah.
on the story and stuff. But that does lead me to think, what did you think about Joker? Because Jack Nicholson did it not first, because
Yeah.
there, you know, the Joker from the 1960s Batman
Sid
wasn't
Romero,
bad. Sid
yeah,
was
Sid
pretty
Romero.
good, but you know, I think Jack's got a great laugh,
Yeah.
and I do think this is kind of like maybe, I guess in the movies, there's not been a ton, but the silliest version of the Joker in a way, like where he really does jokes, like
Yeah.
he kills you like he would in the comics with like an oversized gun or like
Or the
that
boxing
handshaking
glove.
thing, or
or the
yeah,
Smilex.
right. So how did you like Joker? Did you find him to be intimidating, scary? Not like give you a nightmare scary,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean?
thought
Unpredictable.
I thought he was like a little terrifying, but I feel like he was a little over the top. I think
Sure.
like the thing about him not having lips is like terrifying, and he's like visually terrifying.
Yeah, I think it's a
And-
great look.
Yeah, and like the way he kills people to me is perfect. Because like with the handshake thing, this is probably the
Yeah.
best example of this. He shakes your hand and he
He's
just
got that little
kills
buzzer.
you while laughing.
Yeah,
And he's just laughing because he kills you in this weird, unorthodox way.
yeah,
And he's laughing the whole time. And he uses, like, these crazy props to kill people. And I think that's really interesting. And I think this is super Tim Burton, by the way.
Yeah.
But, like, they're leaning into, like, the insanity and, like, kind of ridiculousness of Joker's character. And I mean, it was 1989. But they're also leaning into the fact that he is a sociopath and he does kill people.
yeah. I think it's great. I
Yeah.
really do think the Jokers nowadays, because things are like, make it more grounded, make it more real. Like
Yeah.
they'll just
Yeah.
shoot you with a
Yeah.
gun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They'll
But
just be like,
he will shoot you with
I
a
hate
toy
you.
gun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does make it less realistic, but
Yeah.
like it's the Joker. He's extreme. I know. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think they find a nice middle ground with him. Because
Yeah,
it's like, he's not overly silly. Like you were talking about, like,
Yeah. He's silly, but there's always that hint of like scariness behind it. It's not
Yeah.
like
Right.
you're not going to ever laugh at him. He's not that kind of silly,
Right.
but
Well, it's like Caesar Romero. Caesar
Yeah.
Romero is Joker in '66. Like, it's it's goofy.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's goofy.
the whole show is
Right, exactly. It's goofy. It's
Yeah.
meant to be. But even like not even goofy in like a creepy way. It's just kind of comical. Whereas I do think, and this is some of the things that I have heard, comic book enthusiasts complain about with Jack Nicholson, or really all of them, is how they don't take his like insanity far enough, but not in the grounded way, like say like Heath Ledger kind of did with The Dark Knight, but more of playing into like that silly insanity.
Yeah.
But I think that this is probably the closest that we've gotten on film, like, or at least in live action, because you can make the argument that Batman the Animated Series Joker probably is a little more in line with what I think comic book enthusiasts,
Sure.
comic book readers
It's
wanted.
a very
Yeah.
similar median. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, but I do think Jack Nicholson did a really great job of capturing that middle ground of still, those things that make Joker Joker, like you said,
Yeah.
the way that he kills people, the way he does different things, and still being a realistic character.
Yeah.
Whereas like Heath Ledger's a realistic Joker, but maybe too realistic. in a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. No,
Like, I
that's the
definitely
thing.
feel that because, like, I feel like he's more of a chaotic kind of like terrorist.
Agent of Chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
an agent of chaos. Like, I watched this film theory one time where like it was about how like Heath Ledger's Joker isn't really like bad per se, like how he bankrupted the mob and
Right.
like he doesn't really hurt people like intentionally.
Mhm.
Like I mean I haven't watched the movies, but like I don't know
He tries to
if
turn people on each other, and
Yeah.
he's not necessarily the one that
like
does it.
I don't think he ever actually like directly tried to kill someone and succeeded.
I mean, he definitely did.
Oh.
Like in the movie, he definitely did.
Okay then, the film theory was wrong.
I'm not. I can't remember who he kills.
Killed
But
the
it
guy with
doesn't.
he killed the mobster guy with the pencil. He killed.
Oh, that's true. He put
uh,
the pencil through his head. Then we made the magic trick to make the pencil disappear.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
there's like there's other
But-
ones as well,
But yeah, so I know. I think this Joker is great. And of course, that Heath Ledger's Joker was going for a more grounded situation. And I remember too, though, at that time, though, it was like you almost were scared to do Joker because Jack Nicholson's was held in, like, at least film-wise high regards. Like, how do you do this again? And
Yeah.
then, of course, now Heath Ledger's that benchmark. And
That's
so,
a
yeah,
chat
it
for
just
Heath
switched.
Ledger.
Well,
But, yeah.
And I think, another interesting element of this, we were kind of talking about it earlier, about this idea of this, while this feels like in some ways an origin story for Batman, it's almost more of an origin story for Joker.
It is.
Yeah.
Because Jack Napier becoming Joker is such a big integral part of this movie. Like, Bruce Wayne becoming
Face
Batman
it.
had already happened before this movie
Right.
started. Yes, like I said, you fill in the gaps in the back, but really it's all about Jack Napier becoming Joker. And all that stuff is still super great. Like,
Yeah.
him going into the acid, him, his hand coming out,
Yeah.
the surgery scene
Right.
is still
Yeah,
super effective.
I
His-
think it's like
I mean, some super iconic quotes, too.
Oh,
yeah,
Where they
absolutely.
get a load of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's classic.
And I think
Where
it's
does he get those wonderful toys?
interesting, like the explanation for why his face is white. Because I feel like a lot of times it's just makeup.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is just.
I like
makeup.
in this movie that
'Cause
his
he's
makeup
crazy.
is when he does skin color. Like
Yeah.
normal
Yeah.
skin color is
Yeah.
his makeup.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think that's a cool
And I also
twist.
think the detail that he doesn't have lips. Like I keep going back to this over and over again, but I just think it makes him even more effective because his face is constantly frozen in this like crazed smile.
Yeah.
And like I feel like the reason why he's smiling is because he's been hurt over and over again. So all he can do is try to be happy. You know, and
Sure.
I feel like it kind of shines a light onto like the mental health aspect of it. Because I know in a lot of comic continuities, the reason why he's insane is because like he understands that he's in a comic book or a show. Because I know Joker and Batman the Animated Series like realizes he's in a TV show, and that's part of the reason why he's crazy. Is because he like references it like a couple times, but in the comics there are full on frames of him just crying blood, holding his face, being like, "Who are you? Are you imaginary? No, of course not." Talking to the reader.
Yeah.
And like I think it's kind of like a parallel to this. Imagine feeling the pain of your entire body melting and then being stitched back together by a probably not super qualified guy.
Yeah.
And like all you can do is just smile because your mind has been broken beyond repair, you know?
Definitely.
Tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
Depth.
No, absolutely.
Depth.
But I mean, they do a lot with Joker in this movie. It's I so much of the great iconic moments of the movie, obviously, I think almost maybe more revolve around him than Batman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The museum sequence.
Yeah.
Like that whole
Like
sequence.
the
Yeah.
prince.
Right. Like
And the disfigured people. I think that is another thing we should talk about is like his gang of like disfigured
Sure, yeah.
people, you know, and like what that represents. Because like in this instance, he's not really like a villain, you know, like he's not really hurting people in like this scene, but he has killed people in the past and in the like later in the movie. But like in this scene, he's kind of just providing a home and community to people who just aren't like conventionally attractive. And that scene where he's like talking about how he sees himself as an artist and like not like conventionally attractive, but you know, like
Well,
disfigured.
yeah. Well, I mean, but he disfigured her. Like he did that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, that was the whole thing. Is he did that?
He was her
He-
painting.
He hurt her. He made her like that.
Oh.
She was his work of art.
I should not have been playing Block Blast, man. I should not have been playing Block Blast. I missed that, bro.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing I'll say too, then, that I think this movie had to start off doing, as you kind of just mentioned, how like Joker maybe has some of the better scenes, is because like this movie really, it is Batman 1989, but it's much more so about Bruce Wayne,
Yeah.
and he is Batman than like I think nowadays that they try to focus the movie on Batman, and then there's parts of Bruce Wayne, because at the end of the day, like Batman is who he really is, and Batman is who is more interesting, and the Bruce Wayne is like the fake version, or like just the the version that's can't get out of its shell.
Yeah.
And it's like
Yeah.
really at the end of the day not that interesting.
Yeah.
And I do feel like if this movie ever drags for me, it's when it's like two Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Well, there are some interesting things about Bruce Wayne in this movie that I've always known. Again, like there's not an inch of this movie that I don't know, but I guess it just never really dawned on me some of these things. So like I feel like this in the beginning in the movie, I understand Vicky Vale not knowing Bruce Wayne by face.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
But how Knox not
Right.
knowing him by face like felt
Playboy
weird to me. Right.
philanthropist. You should
Like,
know who he is.
like probably one of, if not the richest man in the city, and you don't
Yeah.
know him by face.
Maybe
like
he's
not
just, like,
Howard Hughes here.
reclusive.
Right.
I mean, but I don't think he is. But that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, it doesn't feel like that.
He held his massive balls.
Yeah, and like they didn't know anybody. Like people like said, "Oh, we don't know. We don't really know anything about Bruce Wayne." Like, how do you not know anything about Bruce Wayne? Like,
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Like, his family was, wealthy in
They
the city.
don't ever say that though. Like
And
they,
that's fair,
in
and
this
that's
movie,
the
it's
thing
almost
that
like, wait, how
changed it,
does
yeah.
he get rich? Like they
Yeah.
don't state in this movie that his dad was, the billionaire, and that it was passed down, and they own Wayne Enterprises. Like none of that exists yet.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
so they just don't touch on it. So
Yeah.
it is confusing because, like you said, like why are you having this giant fundraiser party at his house, but you don't know who he is?
Yeah.
And then the other thing, like when he goes on his first date with Vicky Vale,
Yeah.
he's like,
how he's just they're like-
when they're at the table, he's
Yeah.
like, "Did you have a hard time finding the place?" I'm like, "She was here like yesterday, bro."
Yeah. I think it was like kind of like witty and sarcastic.
I
But
don't know.
another thing I do want to talk about with that date scene, that's not a date. That is two people 12 feet across from each other eating soup quietly.
It's a bold move for your first date to like, "Hey, you want to come to my house right off the bat?"
Yeah,
like,
right.
that's a play.
Like maybe stick to some like Chinese restaurant. I'm sure that Gotham has some good Chinese restaurants.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sure.
I
yeah.
mean, if it's like
I'm sure
some
it-
big city, like maybe like pizza. I'm not too into pizza. I'm not too big of a pizza guy. But like maybe find like a Chinese restaurant. Maybe.
what's
I don't
what's
know.
KittyKaiju's favorite date places? What would they be?
Movie theater, my house, video games, or organizing
Okay, so you would pull the
Transformers.
my house card.
Yeah,
okay.
I would. Video games or organizing Transformers, okay? Or just action figures in general. It doesn't have to be Transformers. They're the most posable, though.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But I do think that this sequence ends up humanizing Bruce in
Yeah.
certain ways, because they go into having the dinner when they ditch the dining room because it's like you said, it's
Impersonal.
inconvenient, it's impersonal,
Yeah,
it's weird.
mhm.
They end up
It is.
having dinner with Alfred like in the kitchen back
Yeah.
area, and I think that that does a lot to make Bruce more relatable.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where and I think that that's something that's also interesting going forward. Obviously we're talking about Batman 1989, but just the way that Bruce Wayne is portrayed in different mediums,
Yeah.
in different versions, and obviously this one in Batman Returns, it's the same Bruce Wayne, so it's relatively the same. But by the time it was Val Kilmer, like I felt like Val Kilmer was almost more of like a cold Bruce
Mhm.
Wayne,
Yeah.
and then Clooney was almost too warm, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah,
It was almost
there
too
are-
guy next door.
There are a lot of problems with Batman and Robin. $1 million. How can you pay? How can you pay for that? Is your utility belt a money belt? Ching! Never leave home without it.
Yeah.
Like that is from
Bat-
the movie.
Bat
They
Express.
put the cha-ching
Yeah.
sound effect in the movie.
Well, to be
I
fair,
can't
from what
wait to watch
from
it.
what I've understood is that Joel Schumacher wanted to find a balance between Tim Burton
And
and
the
the
60s,
1966
which was
version,
dumb.
which was I think
Yeah,
it
it's a little
felt a
weird.
little weird. Like I was like I appreciate the attempt, but you'll
Yeah.
see it's pretty
Yeah.
goofy.
Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing.
Stop watching after Batman Returns on.
Okay, here's the thing. Is it better to reboot a franchise or make another movie in the franchise that's just different from all the others and bad? Like, should the guy who directed it, I already forgot
Joel.
his name.
Well-
Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, Joel Schumacher. should he have like rebooted it again to fit his goofy vision?
Well, he
Well,
did. I mean,
No, I mean,
I
it's
mean, it's
you would think of it as
yeah.
Batman 3 and 4.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think.
I
But you know,
guess.
back in
Yeah.
the day though, that there wasn't a precedent there, and I think
Right.
because
Yeah.
those movies were so bad,
Yeah.
that's why like when Spider-Man got to that point, they're like, we're just gonna start over. We're not
Yeah.
gonna like fake this with a new guy, new directors, new Spider-Man. Like we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna start over.
Yeah.
So you know, I do think that you know kind of set a longer lasting precedent. Hey, one thing I wanted to ask you about was the cowl, the look. You know, I think when you do a
The
superhero
bat
movie,
turn.
the look is so huge and controversial in a lot of movies. You know, like the X-Men are forever criticized about not being comic book accurate enough, and
That's a
then
little weird.
Marvel's done a lot to be very comic book accurate. But
Yeah.
Batman started it,
Yeah.
and it wasn't necessarily comic book accurate. It's like the all black, but they did have the bright yellow logo and stuff, and
Yeah.
so it definitely feels like Batman, but it it wasn't comic book necessarily accurate with the blue underpants and gray and stuff. But
Yeah, that was.
what did you think about it? And of course, we know his neck doesn't move at all, and that
Yeah,
makes no sense.
the
It really
bat
makes him
turn.
look really
Yeah,
not
Stiff.
comfortable at times.
I
but
think it does look better than the bat nipples, though. Let's be real, it does look better than the bat nipples.
man, that's the most realistic suit ever.
Yeah. I do think that like the suit was solid. Like
Yeah.
I didn't really have any nitpicks about it. I was
Did you
kind of
like all like the silhouette of like he raises his cape probably the most in any movie in this one where he's like
Yeah.
I look
Yeah.
like a bat, don't I?
Yeah, I think it was a little weird, and I think Nolan did it better. But like the thing is, he kind of looked like a Showa era Godzilla kaiju, like him just being like wow, psh, and like the way he moved looked a little goofy to me.
Yeah, it does.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. It looked a little weird. I mean, again, it was '89. And
They're
I think
doing
for
the best they
yeah,
can.
like
Those poor
for-
80s people.
Yeah, I mean, The Last Starfighter, which we made a video about. Click the. Actually, I don't even know, but that came out in like '87, right?
Something like that. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah,
It was definitely like,
I think. Yeah, it was like.
an
It was like, yeah, definitely before that.
Yeah. I think the effects were like fine. Like I do think Batman could have moved a bit better, but I don't think the stiffness was just in his neck. I think the stiffness was
The whole
kinda
suit,
everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just for the record, Last Starfighter came out in 1984.
Way
Ooh.
earlier.
Way
But
early.
yeah.
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 I got that
So
way
I
off.
think the suit in Batman '89 looks good when he's standing still,
Yeah.
but it also looks impractical anytime he actually tries to move.
Yeah.
And that's something they have always fought to
Yeah.
work through.
I
but-
think the best Batman suit in my opinion are like the Nolan suits.
Yeah.
Like I think
Zack Snyder's like that bat suit that what's his Ben
Ben
Affleck
Affleck.
wears is not terrible. It's just the movies are.
Yeah.
But it is a very
I
comic
think-
book accurate.
I think pretty much every DC movie between like 2023 and like 2014, 13, whenever Man of Steel came out.
Yeah.
They're all just kind of a big, nice, fresh, steamy lump of terrible. It is bad. Like, I mean,
That's going too grounded, which is what this movie's
Yeah.
grounded. This Batman is grounded.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very realistic version of a Batman
Yeah.
kind of gothic 40s world.
Yeah. Like-
And that's what they try to copy a little bit.
Yeah, and I think
I do
So-
like the Gothicism.
so we're talking a lot, in that instance about like the modern DC movies, and we talked about Marvel movies and stuff, and I mentioned those two words earlier, spectacle and formula. Let's talk a little bit about spectacle because you made a comment earlier about like Batman 1989 compared to Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Obviously like the spectacle of that is
difference.
so I'm curious for you as a viewer of your age who grew up watching these Marvel movies, having
Yep.
this expectation of what spectacle looks like. I want you to try to put yourself in my shoes or Uncle Ray's shoes.
Those are
where
big.
where we went in 1989 to watch this movie in the movie theater. How do you feel like that spectacle would have hit you, at our age then, having viewed all these Marvel movies?
I
now?
mean, it's kind of hard, And, I'm imagining, Precambrian underwater prokaryotic organisms. But, I'm also thinking, I figure the effects and, there haven't been a lot of comic book movies before this. Mm-hmm. And, this was kind of a trailblazing movie that kind of set the scene for pretty much every superhero movie after. So I'm thinking it's pretty damn cool, Yeah. All the effects, the smoke and Batman flying. It's kind of hard for empathy in this situation.
Do those hold up to you now?
I was
though?
gonna say, yeah.
Do you find those fight scenes to be interesting
No,
now?
I gotta say.
Yeah.
I mean, compared
They're
to what we have
straightforward.
now, those fight scenes are pretty terribly choreographed.
Yeah. I mean, even if
it's just a lot of cuts everywhere,
well,
feet,
it's Batman
face,
not moving.
feet.
It's Batman not moving.
Yeah, he barely moves.
The villain doing some twirling of a sword coming up to
Yeah.
him and then getting punched in the face.
Yeah, it's like the People Vultures music video, basically.
Yeah.
That's a good way to sum it up.
There you go.
And the Batman Joker final confrontation is, to be honest, as you look back at it
Yeah,
now,
it's
it's fine, but it's a little anticlimactic because Joker really can't do anything.
Yeah, the
to
giant
him.
Prince ad, the parade.
Well, I
all
mean, the final
necklaces, the
confrontation
Mardi
at
Gras.
the top of the clock tower.
Yeah.
There's
Ever dance with the devil in the
Yeah.
pale moonlight?
Batman says the line back to him, but Joker then is kind of helpless. He just gets punched a couple times and then falls over the edge. I mean, it really happens within
It's
a minute
a
and a
little
half.
weird.
So,
Yeah.
but there's really. It's tough to kind of set that up. It's not going to be a big fisticuffs battle.
Yeah.
With two humanoid, non-superpowered people compared. When you compare it to a Marvel movie.
Yeah, but so another element of it, as far as the spectacle, is the actual production design of the movie. I think you mentioned Mr. KittyKaiju earlier about the gothic nature of it. Obviously, it's very much in Tim Burton's bailiwick, and he leaned very heavily into it, through the course of this movie. How did that work for you? Kind of having that dark, gothic comic booky look to the movie.
I think it worked well for what it was. Now we don't really get, kind of a dark, serious superhero movie like that. I mean, we got the Batman and a lot of, the Snyder and Justice League movies.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, going back to the Marvel thing, I feel like the closest thing we have to, kind of a darker tone, serious movie is Thunderbolts, which...
Sure.
I mean, yeah,
But
you got the giant black silhouette, genuinely sending people to the Shadow Realm.
And with Thunderbolts, really, it is a darker movie for Marvel, but it's just Earth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, Tim Burton is, you're never going to watch a Tim Burton movie and be like, oh, that's just Earth. No, it's Tim Burton, how he sees Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
mean, the
this
guy
movie
who
has
made...
definitely its own world is, it feels like it has its own, lived-in space. It feels real, but unrealistic.
Yeah.
I mean, Tim Burton, the guy who made Nightmare Before Christmas.
He actually didn't direct my Nightmare Before Christmas. That is a common misconception about the
Interesting.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah.
The more you know. Anyway, well, he worked on it, right?
It's Henry Selick, who actually also directed Coraline, the new...
He's a poser.
No, he's not a poser.
He's a poser.
I don't know.
But yeah, he produced the movie.
Yeah, was he executive producer?
No, he produced the movie.
Oh, alright.
I think there were some theories that he had actually directed the movie, but they said Henry Selick did for legal reasons
it just
or whatever.
visually looks like it.
And I think that's completely unfair to Henry Selick, because he's gone on to direct some other really great movies, and to take that away from him, I think, is ridiculous.
Yeah, but did Tim Burton do Corpse Bride?
Yes, he did do Corpse Bride.
Corpse
so
Bride.
so he did do Corpse Bride.
Precisely.
With one other thing, well, there's a lot of things that are iconic about 1989. The music is super iconic. For sure.
The Danny Elfman score.
And then the Batmobile, I think, is pretty iconic, and maybe my favorite Batmobile.
I think that's a fair point.
I mean, I have a really old rickety toy of it that makes that every single time it rolls that I inherited from this guy.
And the Batmobile doesn't even show up until hour and 10 into the movie. It
doesn't do a lot.
It has one good race. It has one good
Yeah.
racing scene, and
I
then the bat plane comes out of
Yeah.
nowhere too. So hey, there's that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. This Batman doesn't need the Batmobile. He's
Sure.
cool enough on his own.
Well, that's funny to me. Like he uses that grapple gun like crazy
Yeah.
throughout the whole movie, over and over. Grapple gun,
it's
grapple gun.
maneuverability.
Yes, but
Yeah.
until then, he has to walk up like 80 flights of the clock tower at the end of the movie. He's just huffing it the whole way. Like, use your grapple gun, dude. You've got the thing.
I think he might be
you
taking
use it
roids.
nonstop.
I
Yeah.
think he might be taking roids. That's my theory.
Makes
Well,
no sense.
The other word that I talked about is formula, and we talked a little bit about the origin story element of this movie. But with modern Marvel movies, and superhero movies in general, they all kind of feel a bit like a freight train. Where it's
Yeah.
just like going, you're moving from action set piece to action set piece.
Yeah.
And this movie, I don't feel like does that. Like there are like set pieces.
Sure.
We're talking about the museum. We're talking about the final clock
Vicky
tower
Dale's
scene.
apartment's a great scene.
Right, exactly. But even that's not a huge action sequence. It's just more of a scene
No.
that plays out. You know
No.
what I mean? And that's my point. So for you, Mr. KittyKaiju, coming in and watching this movie, does the pacing of the movie feel weird to you because you're not just moving from, big action sequence to big action sequence?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I've been like fed Marvel movie after Marvel movie. Like I grew up on like red-blooded American honest to God Civil War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Infinity War, Age of Ultron, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is kind of hard, like, considering how action-starved this movie is.
Mhm.
I mean, like, there are action sequences, and I feel like the density is less generous, more sensible, like, how they put the term sensible on,
Too
like,
much
sizes of
finding Bruce
food.
Wayne.
Sure.
Yeah, it's like that. It's sensible portions of action. And, I mean, considering the action isn't even that good, but, like, I don't think that's what this movie is supposed to be.
Okay.
It's not supposed to be, like, this huge, like, 1-2 punch, like, freight train, ramrod, Viking, barbarian, take charge, but I digress. Like, action sequence after action sequence type of thing. I think it's supposed to be, like, more than that. I think it's telling a larger story.
Okay.
And in true Tim Burton fashion,
Mm-hmm.
he's not relying on just action sequences to tell the story he's trying to tell. He's telling a story of the guy, Bruce Wayne, and like how he's Batman, opening up to people, and he's telling the story of Joker, a crazy guy who kills people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think you're absolutely right about the larger story, and I also agree with you about how this movie moves through the narrative without necessarily needing those big action sequences, but I think they still are able to really capture strong visuals to kind of take the place of what we would look at now and say, oh, this is where a big action sequence is supposed to go.
Yeah, like instead of the clock tower blowing up, it's just two guys fighting on a clock tower.
Sure,
you
but
know?
even like the subtler stuff, when a part of this movie that I still love to this day and I still think is super effective is all the stuff with like the news anchors. Like when Joker has Smile X and you got Brand X and all that kind of stuff, and commercial and what happens to the lady news anchor when she keels
like,
over and she gets the smile and all that. Like all of those visuals.
I've heard you cackle like that.
Oh, I have.
Yes, you have.
But I think all those visuals are still super strong even to this day, and maybe are almost more effective in some regards than big action sequences that we're kind of like used to today.
And like I think the scene where like the dead supermodels just show up on screen, I think it's kind of like startling because you see them with smiles on their faces, like crazed smiles, and you're like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
But like the news anchors don't realize it. And then they're talking, and then the news anchor just starts laughing like, ah, ha, 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 and then she keels over and dies. And you're like,
Yeah.
And you realize that that's, like, connected to the supermodels. And, like, it's kind of like slow burn. It's like that scene in, the first, what's that movie series, where it's, like, the people who have the premonitions and all the crazy stuff happens and tries to kill them.
Is he premonitions?
So they have premonitions about them dying, and they escape death.
Oh,
So-
Final Destination.
Yes,
Yeah.
Final Destination.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
that scene in the first Final Destination where the guy's like tripping, clipping his nose hairs, and like the bathroom is just filling up with water, and you think, no, that's how he's gonna die, and he's gonna like impale his own brain with it, and that's not how he dies. I feel like it's kind of like that, you know, because you see the supermodels on screen, and you're like, something is wrong. No, don't. And then I think it's just really interesting how it was filmed like that, you know, and like the way they did that.
Yeah, like I said, I think that there's a lot of those iconic visuals throughout this whole movie.
Yeah.
One thing I think that I really love when you talk about some of the subtlety of like Tim Burton does. Speaking of that, like it's not that action scene, but one of my favorite scenes always, especially for a Bruce Wayne scene, is like when Joker goes to Vicky Vale's apartment and Bruce Wayne's already there.
Yeah.
But you know when
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne gets there first, you know his comment. I don't remember exactly what he says, but it's like great apartment, lots of space, right?
Yeah.
And then when Joker barges in, the first thing he says is great apartment, lots of space. So the
Right.
fact that they say the same exact
Mhm.
lines,
Yeah.
I was like, there's some similarity between the psychoness of these two people.
Yeah.
They're just on other ends of the coin. And I really love that
Yeah.
dynamic of this Batman and Joker.
Yeah. You know, one thing in this, you know, so we've talked a lot about what we love about this movie. I'm going to actually talk about a couple things that I don't like about this movie that I don't
Alright.
think have aged well. And I think it's, you know, the universe of Batman is very full of really interesting characters. And that includes characters like Commissioner Gordon
Mm-hmm.
or
Harvey Dent.
Harvey Dent, exactly.
I mean-
Thank you. And I feel like those types of characters that I imagine people were kind of like excited to, you know, come and see in this movie, they feel like nothing.
They are in
They
this movie.
aren't.
Yeah,
There
that-
aren't any.
And I think that that's something that is lacking in this movie that other
Yeah.
movies clearly improved upon, is making those characters mean something.
Yeah, well,
'Cause-
And
it's
hold up.
the model we have today is we have to world build now.
Right.
Yeah.
Where in this movie, it's like this is a tighter story.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like, I know in Batman Forever there's Two-Face, and Two-Face is Harvey Dent. Is the Harvey Dent in Batman Forever the same
No.
Harvey Dent in the first one?
no, so that's the other thing.
Precisely.
Yeah, because it's Billy D. Williams in '89, and then they changed it to Tommy Lee Jones by
Yeah.
Batman
Yeah.
Forever. Which I mean, there's a bit
They
of
still have
time
3
between-
names each, but-
that's
Yeah. And
But-
both their middle names are Lee.
no, it's Billy D.
Oh,
Williams.
D.
It's close.
Oh,
though.
I
it's
misheard.
close. No, it's close though. All right. Well, we've talked a lot about Batman 1989. We've talked about a lot of things, but you know, we make these episodes for one reason and one reason only. It's because we want to show these movies that we love. In this instance, to you,
Yes.
Mr. KittyKaiju, to find out if you love them
Your
as much as
son.
we do.
It's
So now
me,
it is
your
time.
son.
Exactly. Passing it down, passing the torch, if you will.
Yes.
I saw this movie in the theater in 1989, my very first movie I ever remember seeing in the theater. So it is now time to find out from you if maybe this movie did, maybe it didn't, maybe it did have the same impact that it had on me. Mr. KittyKaiju, did you love this movie and would you recommend it?
I thought it was fine. Like,
Okay.
I think it was solid for what it was and for the time that it was made,
Mhm.
but it really just does not stack up to the superhero movies now. And I will always have nostalgia for, like, Civil War, Infinity War, Spider-Man Homecoming, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like it didn't really hit, because I was kind of expecting, like, more of an action movie than
Okay.
what it was.
Okay.
And I appreciate, like, how Tim Burton didn't need the giant action scenes to, like, tell the story. And he told the story in his own unique way. And I like all of, like, the nuances and character depth. But I would give it a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I would recommend it for people, for, like, older people who haven't watched it.
Or younger people
What-
who just want to go back in time and
Yeah,
see what us
like,
what us
if-
old guys had to deal with.
Yeah,
What we
if-
thought was cool.
Yeah. If any, like, kids or anything are watching this, and, like, if you guys are into that kind of thing, there's not a lot of action, more storytelling. I appreciate that. But I will always, like, prefer, like, guys in power suits blasting each other with giant rays of
Sure.
energy over
Sure.
this. And, like, the movie wasn't bad by any means. I just prefer modern superhero movies by a lot.
How do you feel about Keaton as Batman? There's a lot
I
of
thought he
question
was
about
a
who's
good
the best
Batman.
Batman. Yeah.
I thought he was a good Batman.
What did you like about him?
I thought that he was like, I think the differences between him as Bruce Wayne and him as Batman, like, they kind of establish both of them as two separate people. Because, Batman is like this stoic, unmoving, kind of like stiff, going back to the cowl, like, character who's just like dark and broody, who will stare at you and proceed to throw you off a building. Like, versus Bruce Wayne, who's like this nice, kind of like billionaire, kind of like nice playboy kind of guy. He's like, oh yeah, would you like to have dinner at my house? He's, and this is an old brain rot term, he's kind of a Rizzler.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, so then the other big question is Jack Nicholson as Batman, or as a Joker, sorry. Like, that whole discussion as, I think, a raging war, who's the best Joker. What do you think of Jack Nicholson as Joker, and what is your favorite
you can't compare,
Joker?
or he hasn't seen all of them.
That's
right?
fair. He hasn't seen all of them, but
out of the ones I know of.
Right, exactly.
Yes. I did enjoy Jack Nicholson as Joker. He might be like my favorite part of this movie.
Okay.
And I like how unique he is compared to other Jokers that are just crazy terrorists. Like, this guy was different. This guy was a special kind of evil, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I think the way he was done was really cool and unique. And he did the Prince Parade, which I thought was nice. And, like, how he was kind of turning the whole city against Batman. I think that's an interesting thing, because usually, like, everyone's against both of them.
Sure.
But, like, he was more, like, kind of political in this. He was, like, kind of this political leader. And I think it was interesting, like, the way he was done in general. But my favorite Joker, these are all of the Jokers that I know of. Nolan Joker, Jack Nicholson Joker, Lego Batman Joker, 1960s Joker, and Batman Animated Series Joker. So, I think it has to be, like, a toss-up between Animated Series Joker and Lego Batman Joker.
This Galifianakis' Joker.
Yeah.
He's great. He's
and,
great.
like,
What that is.
Lego Batman Joker might have to take the cake here. Like, if I'm being honest, like, he's not really serious, and, like, the whole movie was just, like, a bunch of references, but it is a great movie.
I agree. I love Lego Batman.
Yeah,
I'm with you 100%.
It might be my favorite Lego movie, like, out of all of them.
That's
fair.
I get that.
Yeah,
I get
like,
that.
I think it is definitely the best. And, Sadie from Steven Universe as Clayface, like, what? That was so random, but so peak.
There you go.
And, yeah, I think the movie is just really good, and I think Joker has to be, like, one of the best parts of it, and, like, the way he was done, and, like, kind of the themes about Batman needing Joker and vice versa, and, like, how they need each other, because what is Batman without Joker? He just has, like, other, more, like, kind of A and B tier villains, when Joker is, like, the big bad, because, like, Spider-Man has his Doc Ock or Green Goblin, take your pick.
Sure.
Captain America has his Red Skull. Iron Man has his Ironmonger. Hulk has his Abomination. Like, all of these superheroes have, like, their own villains. And, like, Batman has that with Joker. Like, Batman and Joker, it's the ultimate, like, polarity. Not Batman and Superman. And I think, like, the themes about them needing each other are really interesting, and how, like, meta that is. Because, like, without Batman and Joker, a lot of these movies would not exist.
That's true.
That's very
Like,
true.
it would just be Batman versus, like, some other guy. Like, Clayface, Penguin, Poison Ivy, Mr. Freeze. Like, they're all iconic Batman villains, but none of them stack up against Joker. Like, let's be real.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, you heard it here. Mr. KittyKaiju gave Batman 1989 a rating of 6 out of 10, a fine. He gave it a fine. Which, you know what? That's all we can ask for
You know
here.
what? Let's up it to 6.5.
Oh,
Alright.
We'll take every half point we
Yeah,
can get.
another 0.5. Another 0.5.
Well, we
I'm
are
feeling
so excited to
generous
have
today.
been able to
Just
share
had
this
some
movie with you.
tacos.
Keep the torch passing going.
Yep.
We enjoy doing this, and hopefully you'll come back again and do another one of these episodes with us.
No, I likely will. But
likely will.
yeah, you know my price, half of all of your earnings.
Deal.
Which
Deal.
is dead at 0. But hey, if you guys might regret that, I need to get it in writing. If you guys ever get popular,
You know what we're doing.
Okay.
All right, well, I think we are going to wrap up this episode of Batman 1989. Got a 6.5 from the Yuggins, but we got to remember, I think this movie set the precedent for everything that was going to come after it. At least, in the very least, it's what proved to studios that these movies could be profitable.
Absolutely.
And so that, we went from there. So, what we need you all to prove who are listening is that you like us. So please like this podcast if you can. Subscribe to the podcast if you haven't. Don't forget, if you can review us, leave us a 5-star review because we're going to read it live on air someday. Don't forget, you guys can reach out to us via email at Car RayRob at gmail.com or find us on Blue Sky at Car RayRob.
Absolutely. You can now also find us on Instagram and Facebook. By all means, go give us a like on those platforms. See all the fun things we're doing over there. If there is a comment section on whatever platform you're on, by all means, let us know what you thought of Batman 1989. If this is your first viewing, let us know what your favorite Batman movie is. Who's your favorite Batman actor? Maybe tell us who your favorite Joker is. Tell us all the things. We want to know all the things because that's why we do these things.
On.
Well, maybe, but maybe not.
Prove me wrong, people.
We will be back next week with a brand new episode of Say Hello to My Little Film. We will be back on our normal schedule, and it is back to me, and I have got something for Ray that I am
Birthday month, Rob, is terrible.
excited.
Yes.
But you know what?
You've been hinting that this will be better.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if it's better for you, but I have a feeling it's going to be.
Okay.
Then we will be back in 2 weeks with our July episode of A Copy of a Copy, where again we are going to continue to celebrate my birthday by doing something really fun, by doing Dune 1984, as well as the brand new Dune Part 1 and Part 2.
Not sure if 1984 Dune is fun. I can't remember. I've seen it once and thought it was fine, but
It's a 6.5. It was a 6.5.
Yeah, the new Dunes are amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch those 3 movies. And then we'll be back to Ray for a brand new episode of Say Hello to My Little Film, and he is on a hell of a hot streak.
It's hard to keep that going. The momentum, it's scary. I feel pressure now. I don't know if I can live up to it.
Yeah, we're going to see, because I'm very excited to see what you have in store for me then. But until then, this is Car RayRob.
Where I'm Ray.
And I'm Rob. And remember, be defined by the films you love, not the ones you hate.
Hey there, it'll be just a little while till Ray and Rob spit their spittle. Come on, check out of the hospital.